So hi guys, we're back with Steve Frost from Martin & Co in Chelmsford, and we're sort of digging into his life in agency, why he's been in the property game for such a long time, and why he continues to do that. So hi Steve.
Hi there, how are you, Chris?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good, thank you. So just what was your childhood like? What did you want to be when you grew up? Did you always want to work in property, or did you want to do something different?
Yeah, not at all. I was brought up in the 70s, a council house in East London. So not a great background. Left school 16, no qualifications, unfortunately. Working class family. Work was the driver for what I had to do, so I left. As a child, I probably always wanted to be a police officer. That's the truth. Or policeman. Most childhood dreams. I had that squashed in the 80s when, at the time in the 80s, they were looking for perfect vision. Unfortunately, I have to wear glasses at the time. Police officers didn't wear glasses, so that was squashed. And yeah, that was that.
You'd have made a good copper because you're really tall.
Yeah,
quite.
I am. They're all short now, though, aren't they? They're all. Yeah. They've lowered their standards now. They're all short and they all wear glasses. It's fun.
Yeah, well, I'd have been fine now, but in the 80s.
Yeah.
No, good. So did you always want to be? Did you always want to? So after that dream sort of disappeared, did you want to move into property?
No, not again, really. I started my career in banking. In the days of when I left school in the 80s, you got a job in the last year of school. So I ended up a couple of job offers from banks, which I chose. Did that for probably 8 to 10 years. And I ended up selling financial services after that. So that was kind of my next move. And I fell into property in 1996. I'd been made redundant, and first time I'd been made redundant ever. Didn't really know what to do. I had a young babe. I was married to my ex-wife, young child. Went down the job centre, and looking on the board. I never ever got to sign on, thankfully. Look, in the old days when the job board was little adverts on the board. You took it to the lady, and they sorted the interview out for you. And I went to work. I got an interview for Best Reeves. And I went and met a guy. Got on really well with him. Offered me a job as a training negotiator in 1996. And I guess that's the rest of it. They say is history.
So, when you first got into agency, then Best Reeves are, they're a recognised brand. They're a national brand. That was your first sort of foray into agency. How did you find that? I mean, just going from a financial sector into property, completely change of tack. How did you find that?
It was a challenge. I'm a salesperson at the end of the day, so selling for me the house sales. I'm guessing that's why they gave me the job, because the house selling, at the time it was more known as being a sales role more than a kind of, as it is now, customer service type role. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I learned from the ground. Corporate world. Obviously, I'd had the banking, and I worked for a corporate financial company as well. So I'd had the corporate. I like the structure. I like the the procedural stuff that the Countrywide Best Reeves Group. And I stayed there for 10 years. I worked my way up to when I left, I was an area manager. So I'd worked my way through the ranks over the years.
So which jobs did you do for them?
So I went into lettings. So basically, I was working for Best. I hated the sales side, weirdly. I've got a small baby, having to work weekends and Sundays and all that kind of stuff, bank holidays. So at the time, I saw a job advertised within the group for Countrywide Lettings.
Yeah.
Which is how I fell into lettings. So I didn't, probably looking back on it as a boss now, and I probably would have done things differently at the time. As a 25-year-old, I was a bit hungry. Went for the job interview. Got offered the job by Countrywide Lettings, and then all hell broke loose between the departments because Bairstow's had trained me and Countrywide Lettings wanted to take me. That the appeal was less hours at the time, so we're talking probably 97, 98. Letting agents weren't open on Saturdays, so that for me that was young child, no weekends. It was perfect. So I worked my way up. I was a neg there, did property management. Was property manager for about 4 or 5 years, and then I left Countrywide because I thought the grass was greener on the other side. And I went to work for Andrews in Romford, so another corporate big brand. That's my first kind of manager's break. Countrywide, I could never get a manager's job in Countrywide, so I was at that point. So I left to go to Countrywide, to Andrews, and I was there for about a year, travelling back and forward up the A127. And I didn't really enjoy it, is the truth. My nearest branch was like 50 miles away. There was no support, it didn't give me the structure I wanted to have as a new manager. And then some personal stuff happened. I lost a couple of relatives quite closely together. And I kind of ended up setting up on my own from my back bedroom in 2001. Yeah.
What was the name of that
2001
firm?
that was. So again?
What was the name of that firm?
Morton Property Services. So basically my stepdad's died. So that was kind of why it was Morton. So it's kind of his money that I used, my inheritance I used for that. Set up on my own in my back bedroom, did that for probably about a year, 18 months. Marriage had broken down at that point. I was in a new relationship as well by the end of 18 months. Countrywide, little beknown to me, has been watching me. So every time the area manager come down, he used to go into the staff and moan that I was doing well and I've got this and I've got that and I was doing this. And then one day he approached me and said, would I sell my business? By this point, it's probably about a year, 18 months later, I'd got another child or on the way, expecting. Yeah. The bedroom was still, it'd gone out of the bedroom. I was in a kind of I was renting a desk off another agent.
Yeah.
And but the appeal of Countrywide, initially I said no. I resisted them a couple of times, and then they come back with a salary as well as selling the business, which I couldn't, as a manager, which I couldn't refuse. So that kind of, and then I spent the next 8 years there, worked my way up area manager, which I really enjoyed. I looked after some of the Kent branches, and Billericay, Southend, Chelmsford as well.